Hi, everybody. Welcome to my monthly pre-educational webinar. We do this every month. And I do present the same topic for 3 months running to give people more than one opportunity to be able to participate in the information that I'm presenting. So this month will be another session of what financial and legal documents you should, first of all, know about, that they even exist, and what they're for. And that's what I'm going to be going over with you today. It's not the most exciting topic on the planet, I have to admit, but it's a necessary one. So if you don't already have your cup of coffee, go get yourself one to keep yourselves awake while I go through the recommended financial and legal documents that you might want to bring up with either your attorney or your financial planner to see if they're necessary for your situation. But I really feel it's important to know that they exist. And I'm going to go through them and give you also just a very brief overview of what they're used for. You don't have to worry about taking notes if you don't want to, if you want to just listen and pay attention, because just for attending this today, we are going to actually give you a PDF, and Marilyn will send out an email, I believe tomorrow, with a link to how you can download what we call a comprehensive blueprint to what you need to know and do after receiving an Alzheimer's disease and dementia diagnosis. And these basically just gives you a step-by-step list of all the documents that I'm going to go over today, and then some resources for you. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I feel pretty strongly that when a family member is diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease or any other form of dementia, it's really important that as soon as you possibly can, you address legal and financial matters for a couple reasons: to ensure that their wishes are respected, that you know what they want to do for end-of-life planning, and that their affairs are properly managed. Don't forget, this is a degenerative cognitive illness. So hopefully by the time you realize that they do have a brain disease like Alzheimer's that's causing dementia, they are still lucid enough that they can tell you what their wishes are before that piece of it runs out of time, and then you're not sure and you're just giving everything your best guess. All right, so the first legal document that everybody needs to be aware of is what we call a power of attorney. And a power of attorney is a legal document that allows a designated individual, whom we call the agent or attorney in fact, to make financial decisions on behalf of the person. So that's the key word, to make financial decisions. Power of attorney is synonymous with financial decisions, not medical decisions. That's a separate appointee. There are two types of power of attorney: a financial POA and a healthcare POA, power of attorney. Now, the financial power of attorney allows the designated individual to manage financial matters, while the healthcare power of attorney grants authority to make medical decisions. So you need both. The second document is called a living will or an advanced directive. They're the same. A living will, also known as an advanced directive, is a legal document that outlines a person's preferences for medical care and their end-of-life decisions. It specifies the type of care that the individual wishes to receive or avoid if they become unable to communicate their wishes due to illness or incapacity. Then there's the healthcare proxy. A healthcare proxy is a document that appoints someone to make healthcare decisions on behalf of the person with Alzheimer's disease if they are unable to do so themselves. This individual, known as a healthcare agent or surrogate, should be someone that the person living with dementia trusts to make sound medical decisions in accordance with their wishes that hopefully they had a chance to express to you before they could no longer do so. There's the fourth document is called a will or trust. A will or trust is a legal document that outlines how a person's assets and property should be distributed after their passing. It is essential to have a clear and up-to-date estate plan to ensure that the person's wishes are carried out and to prevent disputes among family members. Are you completely confused already? I can understand why. All right, the fifth document is called a guardianship. It's also referred to as a conservatorship. And in some cases, if a person with Alzheimer's disease is no longer able to make decisions for themselves and has not designated a power of attorney, a family member or another interested party may need to seek guardianship or conservatorship through the court to make legal decisions on their behalf. Then we have the good old HIPAA authorization, which most of us, if we do go to our physicians, are familiar, or dentists, are very familiar with that form because we're always being asked to sign one, because it allows our healthcare providers to share our personal medical information with designated individuals. Otherwise, they legally cannot disclose anything about us. The document is essential for ensuring that family members and caregivers have access to vital medical information and can participate in care decisions. So you got to have one of those signed. It is advisable to consult with an attorney who specializes in elder law or estate planning, because that's going to ensure that all the necessary legal documents are in place and that they comply with your state laws, or the state laws that the person living with dementia resides in. Now, planning ahead and addressing these legal matters early, for obvious reasons, can help alleviate stress and uncertainty for both the individual with Alzheimer's and, of course, their family members. There's another document out there that's kind of been newer on the scene. I think it came out maybe 15 years ago. It's called a POLST, and that's an acronym for Physician Orders for Life-Sustaining Treatment, or POLST. And I'm going to tell you in a second exactly what it does and why you might want one. Now, I just want to emphasize, this is very confusing. I completely recognize that. And it's hard to keep them straight. But the main objective for me going through this list with you is to familiarize you with what is out there. So when you do have that conversation with either the elder law attorney or the financial planner, you can bring this to any of these documents that I've gone over with you to their attention, because you don't know what you don't know. So if, at least if you're aware that they exist, and you download the blueprint that we're going to give you access to, you'll have it as a reference guide to ask, do we need this? Do we need this? Why would we need this? Why don't we need this? So this is really going to empower you to know what's out there and what is recommended by your attorney and or your financial planner to make sure that it's something that really fits into your situation, so you're covered. All right, back to the POLST. So it's a medical order that documents a person's preferences regarding life-sustaining treatments in the event of a medical crisis or emergency. This document is designed to ensure that a person's wishes regarding medical interventions are honored by healthcare providers in various care settings. And here are the key points to what's included in the POLST form. So it's going to describe medical orders. Unlike advanced directives or living wills, which are legal documents that outline preferences for future care, a POLST form contains medical orders that are signed by a healthcare provider. That's a huge, significant difference. This form is signed by the doctor, and the others are signed by the beneficiary or the assignee. These orders are intended to guide emergency medical personnel and other healthcare providers in providing or withholding specific treatments based on the person's current medical condition and preferences. And the operative word there is current. So this is a form that needs to be continuously kept up to date. Now, the other thing that it covers is what we call scope of treatment choices. And what that means is the POLST form typically addresses a range of treatment options, including cardiopulmonary resuscitation or CPR. Do they want to be revived in case of heart failure? Intubation and mechanical ventilation. It also includes artificial nutrition and hydration and comfort measures. It allows individuals to specify their preferences for each of these interventions based on their goals of care and quality of life considerations. This is important stuff for the emergency team. If they come to your house to treat an emergency, you'll have this form ready for them to refer to, so they'll know what the wishes of your loved one are, and they will act accordingly. This is a portable document. The POLST form is a portable document that can accompany a person across all care settings, including hospitals, nursing homes, and other healthcare facilities. So this helps ensure that healthcare providers have access to the person's treatment preferences and can provide care that aligns with their wishes. If you don't have this form available for them, they will not know what your loved one's wishes are. And they can't go by what you tell them. It has to be in writing, signed. Another part of the POLST form includes, and this pertains to seriously ill or frail individuals, and the POLST forms are typically recommended for individuals who are seriously ill, frail, or nearing the end of their life. They are particularly useful for individuals with advanced chronic conditions, such as advanced dementia, end-stage heart failure, advanced cancer, or any other condition who may benefit from clear guidance on their preferences for life-sustaining treatments. And the POLST forms are state specific. So make sure that you pay attention to that. The specific details of POLST forms, including the content, format, and requirements for completion, may vary from state to state. It is important to use the appropriate form for the state in which the person who has the condition, where they reside, and ensure that it is completed accurately and in accordance with their state regulations. So overall, the POLST form is a valuable tool for individuals to communicate their preferences for life-sustaining treatments and ensure that their wishes are respected by healthcare providers in emergency situations. It's also recommended for individuals who have specific preferences regarding medical interventions and end-of-life care. So, what are some of the other documents out there that are important if your loved one develops Alzheimer's disease? Well, we pretty much covered, in addition to the essential legal documents of, I'll repeat, power of attorney, living will, healthcare proxy, and POLST. There are actually several other documents to consider having in place if your loved one develops Alzheimer's disease. And these documents can help ensure that their wishes are respected. I can't emphasize that enough. That their affairs are managed effectively and their care needs are properly addressed. And I can tell you just from the thousands of families I've helped over the decades, the last 3 decades, a lot of them, when they don't have these things in place, it's very emotionally distressing for them not to know what the wishes of their loved one are and having to second guess that. And they go through so much guilt and turmoil because they don't know for sure. And everybody's goal is to, make sure that our loved ones' wishes are honored. So that's why we recommend that you look into these and get them taken care of sooner than later. Make sense? Yeah. Okay. So here's some additional paperwork to consider. Their financial information. Gather and organize important financial information, including their bank account details, investment accounts, insurance policies, retirement accounts, and property deeds. Know where these things are, because if you need them, you're not going to want to have to go on a treasure hunt to find them. They're all in one place and you have easy access to them. So if you can possibly be proactive about this process versus reactive, you are going to be under so much less stress than if you're scrambling around trying to figure out where all these documents are. Having a clear overview of your loved one's financial assets can help with managing their finances and planning for their care. I know that this kind of sounds like it makes a lot of sense, and you might want to say it's a no-brainer, but I can't tell you how many people don't do this proactively, and they are scrambling around after the fact, and it's not a pleasant experience. It's a very stressful experience. Make sure you have their current medical order records available and in order. And keep a copy of your loved one's medical records, including their diagnosis, noses, medications, treatment plans, and contact information for healthcare providers available. Having these records on hand can facilitate communication with the healthcare professionals and ensure continuity of care. You want to have their insurance documents available. Make sure you have copies of your loved one's health insurance, long-term health care insurance if they have a policy, because you're probably going to want to activate it at some point. Their Medicare and Medicaid cards, and any other relevant insurance policies. The other thing that would be really helpful and beneficial for you is to understand what their insurance coverage covers. And that can help you navigate through their healthcare expenses and access necessary services. And sometimes you're going to need maybe to have a professional go over that with you if you don't understand the insurance jargon and what all the terminology means. But again, you would be prepared. Have a contact list. So what you can do is create a list of important contacts, including healthcare providers, attorneys, financial advisors, family members, and friends. Having a comprehensive contact list can obviously be very helpful and important in emergencies or when coordinating care for your loved one. Write down their care preferences and routine. And as they progress through the dementia and go through the various stages, the care preferences and the routines are obviously going to change. So you want to update that to make sure that it's current to whatever stage they are currently in. So document your loved one's preferences, daily routines, their likes, their dislikes, and any specific information, or I'm sorry, instructions related to their care. This information can guide caregivers and ensure that your loved one's needs and preferences are respected. You want to always have their current medication list, and I know that can change on a very regular basis, but keep that up to date and have that in your packet ready to hand over to emergency medical staff, doctors, emergency room physicians. So there is no chance of medication interaction that will be harmful to your loved one. Maintain an up-to-date list of their medications, including dosages, frequencies, and any special instructions. And one of the reasons why this tends to be a potentially harmful problem for people, because especially when they are suffering from comorbid conditions, they see different doctors for different reasons, and different doctors are prescribing different medications to treat the different specialties. And it's so easy to not have access to everything that they take in one place. And then it becomes the game of Russian roulette when they want to maybe introduce a different medication to them in the emergency room. And I'm sure that makes perfect sense. So the goal here is to prevent medication errors and ensure that healthcare providers are aware of all the medications that your loved one is taking. Another thing that you can do, hi Sat, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm glad to see you here, and I know you probably didn't hear what I told you. We're going over the list of all the legal and medical documents that a family needs to proactively have an order. But we're about halfway through, but you don't need to worry about it, because for every single person who's attending this webinar today, you actually get access to my comprehensive blueprint, which lists every single thing that we're talking about here, its purpose, and you'll have it at your disposal. So if and when you do talk to an elder care attorney and or a financial planner, you'll be aware that these documents exist, and then you can ask about them. Like, what do I need this? And why do I need this? Or why don't I need this? So don't worry about keeping track. It's all going to be made available to you. And Marilyn is going to send out that email tomorrow to give you a link that you can download every single, the list of everything I'm going over today. But
Thank
I'm
you.
also going to do this same informational webinar one more time, which will be next month.
Okay.
Okay, good. Because this is a lot of really important things to know. Some of these things you may have heard of, and some of them are being introduced for the very first time, but every single one has plays a critical role in, you know,
Sure. Continue, please. Yeah.
okay, all right. Okay, create a home safety checklist. Conduct a home safety assessment and create a checklist of modifications and adaptations needed to ensure a safe living environment for your loved one. And just to give you some examples of what that may include, grab bars, removing tripping hazards. Like maybe they're a huge fall risk and you would want somebody to know that. Securing cabinets. So by organizing and maintaining these important paperwork and documents, you can better manage your loved one's care, finances, and legal matters as they navigate the challenges, which is enough for anybody, of Alzheimer's disease and dementia. And regularly review and update these documents as needed to reflect any changes in your loved one's condition or preferences. And I can't stress that enough because they change so quickly. So in addition to legal documents, financial information, medical records that I've gone over so far, and other paperwork, there are a few more important considerations and documents to have in place if your parents develop or your loved one develops Alzheimer's disease. So in addition to the living will and healthcare proxy, there are advanced care planning documents. And your head's probably just reeling now because it's hard to kind of separate one from the other, but don't worry about it because you're going to get the list. Okay, so what is that for? Consider completing other advanced care planning documents such as a do not resuscitate form. This is a completely separate form from all the other ones that we've talked about. And if your loved one's wishes is absolutely do not resuscitate me, they cannot honor that wish unless you have this document to present to them, to the paramedics, to the emergency doctors. They have to revive them. The only way they can honor this wish is for you to present them with a do not resuscitate form signed. Or the POLST that we went over earlier, if applicable. These documents provide guidance on the level of medical intervention that your loved one desires in specific situations. Ensure that your loved one has proper identification, such as an ID bracelet or necklace with their name, medical conditions, and emergency contact information. What I have seen people do in my 30-year career working with families is they have all of these documents in one place. Some of them I've seen taped to the refrigerator or in a place that it's easy to find these documents. And when the paramedics show up to that location, to intervene for a medical emergency, this whole packet goes with them, including their ID bracelet or their necklace. So it's a one-stop shop. It's everything that they need to make sure that they carry out all the wishes that you did your due diligence to find out, and now you can pass that on to the care providers. If you don't have these things in place, they're just going to do what they are legally obligated to do, and it might not be the wishes that your loved one has asked for. Additionally, consider implementing safety measures in the home. A few more suggestions are door locks, alarms, GPS tracking devices. Wandering is a chronic behavior in people with dementia. They want to leave their environment, go for walks, get to another place, and they're putting themselves in harm's way because a lot of times they go out when they're perfectly lucid, and then somewhere along the journey, they completely forget where they are, who they are, how to get back to where a safe place is. And so these GPS tracking devices are very useful in not only minimizing wandering, but ensuring their safety. And then there are safety programs that are available out there. I know that you can ask the Alzheimer's Association. It's called the Return to Safety Program. And I believe what you do is you register your loved one's information with the local police, and they can use the GPS tracking system. They also have all the information on file. So if this does happen in your family, you have a resource to fall back on to help find your lost loved one. I've seen it happen a bazillion times, trust me. So another thing to include in their personal information packet, if you will, are their Social Security and pension information. So you want to keep records of your loved one's Social Security benefits, pension payments, and other sources of income. Understanding their financial resources can help you plan for their care and manage expenses effectively. And then there's a legal capacity assessment. If there are concerns about your loved one's capacity to make decisions, consider seeking a legal capacity assessment form. That's another one to throw at you, from a qualified professional. This assessment can help determine their ability to understand and make informed decisions about their affairs. Then there's long-term care planning. Wake up, we're not quite finished yet. Explore long-term care options, such as assisted living facilities, memory care units, or in-home care services, and develop a comprehensive care plan that addresses your loved one's evolving needs. Consider discussing long-term care insurance options if applicable. What I recommend is just prepare yourself for knowing the different types of care facilities that are available, because in terms of making an actual placement, you're going to want to wait when you feel the time is ready to address their care needs at the time that you're looking for actual placement, because it's going to change. So if you actually decide the time has come for a professional care environment placement, what you looked at 6 months ago may not apply to them today, but at least you know what's out there. Sometimes there's long waiting lists in some of these places too, so keep that in mind. Now, support services and resources. Research and access support services and resources that are available for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and for their caregivers. This may include support groups, respite care services. For those of you that aren't familiar with the term respite care, it means finding somebody to temporarily take care of your loved one, to give you a respite or a break. Either they come to your home or you take them to a designated facility. A lot of the memory care units offer respite care, so do assisted living facilities, but it's even more needed when the person lives with dementia for obvious reasons. You want a communication plan. Establish a communication plan with your family members, your healthcare providers, and other individuals involved in your loved one's care. This ensures that everyone is informed about their condition, their preferences, and their care needs to facilitate coordinated and effective care. And everybody is on the same page. Remember that each situation is very different and very unique, and the specific documents and considerations may vary based on your loved one's individual circumstances and preferences. It's important to regularly review and update these documents because they change on a dime as needed to ensure that they accurately reflect your loved one's wishes and care needs throughout the progression of Alzheimer's disease. Here are a few more important aspects to consider for preparing their to-go bag, their to-go packet. That would be very helpful to whomever takes over. A daily care plan. Develop a detailed daily care plan outlining their routine so they can continue that. Familiarity is so important to the quality of life to people who live with dementia. This is going to include their medication schedule, their meal schedule and meal plans, their personal care needs. Some people like a shower in the morning, some in the afternoon, some in the evening. So make sure you provide all that information so all of a sudden things don't just change on them and that is throws them off their routine. And any specific preferences or habits that you feel are important for whomever might be taking over at that point would need to know. This can serve as a guide for caregivers and help maintain consistency in your loved one's daily life. Very important. Behavioral management plan. Individuals with Alzheimer's disease do and will exhibit challenging behavioral expressions. Some common ones are agitation, aggression, wandering. You want to make sure you work with healthcare professionals to develop a behavioral management plan that includes strategies for addressing and managing these behaviors effectively. So you might want to put down some known triggers that if a situation comes up, you know that's going to trigger agitation in your loved one or combativeness or aggressiveness. And some of the things that you know will work to de-escalate that situation, because they're not going to know. They don't know your person. End-of-life care preferences is another big one. Have conversations with your loved ones, if you still can, about their end-of-life care preferences, including their wishes for palliative care, which is synonymous with comfort care, making sure they're comfortable. Hospice care, if you choose to go with hospice care, and comfort measures. Document these preferences in the advanced care planning documents and communicate them with healthcare providers and caregivers. And then legal guardianship consideration. I know this list just goes on and on and on. It's exhaustive, but every single one of them you should be aware of. If your loved one's cognitive impairment progresses to the point where they are unable to make decisions for themselves, you may need to consider pursuing a legal guardianship or a conservatorship to make decisions on their behalf. So this is something you would want to consult with your attorney who specializes in elder care law or elder law to explore this as an option for you. Because again, if you don't have these things in place and you find out after the fact that you really needed it, it's going to be too late, probably. So another reason to be aware of the existence of those two things, legal guardianship or conservatorship. Okay, financial management and fraud protection happens every single day to millions of people. Safeguard your loved one's finances by monitoring their accounts, setting up automatic bill payments, protecting against financial exploitation and fraud. Consider establishing the safeguards that are available out there, such as setting up account alerts or limiting access to financial accounts. And then another thing that's really important that I'm just going to mention, because I see it so often with caregivers burning out. Prioritize your own self-care by seeking respite care options, taking breaks, seeking support from your family members, friends, or respite care services to prevent caregiver burnout. And I've had so many people, and I can attest to this from my own personal experience, having 8 family members who have lived with dementia. It seems more common than not that if this kind of strikes your family, everybody that you knew disappears off the face of the earth and you're left holding the bag. And I hear that from so many people. And I can tell you that it happened to me with my mother, even though she didn't have dementia. But she did have a feeding tube, and that precluded her from being able to live in any type of assisted living or a board and care home, because they don't take peg tubes in those environments because they're social models, not medical models. So we took her in, and everybody in my family just disappeared for 3 years. So anyway, it happens. It happened to me. It happens to a lot of people. I hear it every single day. So know who's going to be a support network for you. So you know who you can rely on, and you're not put in that position, which makes you feel hopeless and helpless. And oh my gosh, why isn't anybody understanding that this is so hard and stressful and nobody's willing to help? So plan for that. Be prepared for that by knowing who you can lean on and count on and who's there to help you. Continuing education and support, like what you're doing today. You're taking the time to find out what you need to be prepared for, and I applaud every one of you for doing that. You need to stay informed about Alzheimer's disease, about caregiving strategies, about available resources by attending these types of workshops. There's also support groups that are very valuable. I used to lead support groups, and people who are going through this as family members and caregivers find them very helpful, at least to hear that other people are going through the exact same thing, how they're dealing with it. So if you haven't looked into any support groups, I recommend a support group. Seminars. Knowledge and support can help you navigate these challenges of caregiving a lot more efficiently and effectively than trying to figure it all out on your own. And you really don't have to. So you want to also do a regular care plan review, regularly review and update your loved one's care plan, their legal documents. I've said this earlier, everything that I've gone over today, make sure they're current and accurate. Any changes in their condition or care requirements. By addressing these additional aspects and considerations, everybody will be better prepared for the challenges of caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's disease and ensure that their needs are met effectively, accurately during the course of the illness. And again, seeking support, staying organized, being proactive, having all of these things available that are pertinent to your loved one and your family situation are going to make your world so much easier to get through in this situation. So that is basically everything you need to know about legal and financial documents, the things that you may have been aware of, you may not have ever heard of, but at least now you have heard the name of it and you can ask questions. And I want to emphasize, we talked about this yesterday or Tuesday in my Ask Lisa Anything segment. I just want to kind of go over these things that are so important in providing a quality of life for people living with dementia. It has nothing to do with documents, but I just want to add this, that to help your loved ones stay organized and independent and find meaning and joy in their lives. These are some of the things that you want to make sure you are providing for them, or wherever they're being cared for is providing for them. Social engagements and activities. Encourage social engagement and participation in meaningful activities to promote cognitive stimulation and emotional well-being. This is so important because if they don't have access to any of these things, they will withdraw and decline quicker and just give up. So music therapy is powerful. Pet therapy is powerful. Art classes. But what you want to do is find things that are of interest to them. Make sure that they're getting proper nutrition and hydration. So that, and always stay hydrated. That's really important in the elderly, especially when they're living with dementia, because sometimes they don't even know that they're thirsty. So they can't look around for something to drink or tell you that they need. You have to be their advocate and maybe offer them something every few hours. That's one of the challenges of dementia, is they don't know to ask. They don't even recognize that they are thirsty sometimes, a lot of times actually. Make sure that you're providing them with enough fluid intake to support their overall health and well-being. Make sure they get physical exercise and mobility by encouraging regular exercise and activities that promote mobility and strength. Simple exercises are fine. Walking, stretching, light strength training can help improve their physical health and maintain their independence. If you do everything for them, trust me, I've seen it happen way too many times, they will turn into an invalid, even though they're perfectly capable of doing a lot of things still themselves. Plus, it gives them, a reason to want to get up in the morning, to want to wake up in the morning. So keep that in mind. I've mentioned this already. Monitor their health changes, their end-of-life planning. Make sure that you find yourself support networks and respite care when the need arises. And that is about it. But you're probably saying, oh my gosh, my head is spinning. That's way too much information. And it's a lot of homework, isn't it? It's a lot to prepare. This is not an easy task, but it's a necessary one, and it's something that everybody should be aware of. So we're just about to the top of our hour. We have a few minutes left. If anybody has any questions for me, now I'm not an attorney and I am not a financial planner. I do have a lot of, because I've been working with these things for 30 years. But is there anything that I said that you have a question about or a comment about? Has this been valuable for you? If it is, put a number 1 in the chat. If you're just waking up because it was so boring and you couldn't even keep track of the information, then that would be helpful for me to know, because maybe I'll go on to a different topic if people really don't find this useful. And you can put a 2 in the chat. This is all really helpful information because I want to bring to you what's going to make your lives easier through this very, very difficult predicament. So, any questions? Any comments? I am going to be offering this one more time next month. Marilyn, I think our date for that is, I know it's at the end of July. If you could tell us the date, but we'll also be sending you out the announcement, because you obviously are on our email list because you're here today. And then the next month following July, so August, will be a completely new topic. And then don't forget, you can download the document that lists everything that I went over today. And hopefully that'll be a really valuable resource for you for planning ahead. So any more questions? Any questions? Somebody put something in the chat.
Matilda said 1, so that's good.
I'm glad, Matilda.
It doesn't look like we have any questions right now, but to answer you, the next webinar is the 25th. So it's the 4th Thursday of July, same time. I will be emailing out the link for the handout that will go out tomorrow to everyone that signed up. And just a reminder for everyone, Lisa does have a training course that's available on her website, mindingdementia.com. There's a special price right now. So if you want, go check that out before the price goes up. Also, her podcast, you can get that on wherever you listen to your podcast, but there's a link to Truth, Lies, and Alzheimer's on the website, mindingdementia.com. There's a lot of information on there, so go check that out. And if you're not part of the Facebook support group, be sure to check that out.
The episodes, I've been doing this for a year and a half, 2 years. Every single episode, which is available to anybody, they're all archived, so you can go back and look at the topics and listen to anything that you're curious about. They're all free. And I cover a different topic every single week. And hopefully there's something there that will be useful for you. And then in terms of the training program, it's a 6-course module program. And basically it's 30 years of my personal and professional experience documented to help you through your personal journey, so you have a place to go to understand this disease better and to be able to respond and react and know what it's like to live with Alzheimer's disease from their perspective. So hopefully there's a lot of really useful information that will help make your journey less stressful for you. And you can just focus on what really matters. And what is that? Being able to spend quality time with your loved one without all the added stress that comes along with it because you have to deal with all these unpredictable behavioral expressions and everything that goes along with dementia, and you'll be better prepared to react and respond to them. So that's a resource for you too. So in closing, I appreciate everybody being here today, and thank you for your comments. It looks like everybody found this helpful and useful, which I appreciate because it encourages me and inspires me to continue to want to bring this information to everybody. I had somebody say to me years ago, and this is why I do what I do. She said, "It would be selfish of you, Lisa, to not tell the world of your experiences because people are desperate for this information. They don't know where to turn. They don't know what resources are out there." And I knew they were right because I've been hearing it for decades from my clients and families I work with. So it makes me happy to know that if my information helps one person have a better experience through this, because we're in it for decades sometimes, then I feel like I'm making my contribution out there. All right. And I mean that. I really do mean that. Hope to see you all again next month. And if you have any questions, you can email me and I'll answer your questions for you. I'm available. I'm here to help you. Okay. Bye-bye for now. Thanks for